How's it going, traders? Hopefully you guys enjoy this weekly Forex forecast, and make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Alright, starting things off with the US dollar Cot Report. The past week the banks got rid of 1,031 long positions, and they also got rid of 1,858 short positions. And remember, if you guys do want this Cot Report spreadsheet, it is available lifetime access on Patreon. Links in the description down below. Now, looking at the US dollar weekly chart here, we clearly are still trending down on the US dollar, and we are going a little bit deeper inside of this weekly area of tested demand. It has been tested here before. So in my opinion, it does kind of look like we are basing up right here for a break of this weekly supply zone, but obviously we don't want to just predict that. So in my opinion, just hopping in short on the US dollar is definitely a little risky. I will break that down better throughout the forecast, so make sure you guys tune in for the whole thing. Onto the daily chart of the US dollar, clearly the momentum down is more displayed here. And if price does pull back to this daily area of supply at 106.285, you could definitely look for shorts in the US dollar at that point on US dollar pairs. Just remember that weekly demand is in control technically, but we have lost momentum, so I do think we could still see some downside on the US dollar, especially since we have very strong 4-hour and 1-hour trends. So in my opinion, it's going to be a little bit of a confusing week this week, considering that the US dollar did lose momentum on the weekly chart, but we are in weekly demand, and who knows, after maybe in a month or two, or at least in the new year, we could see the US dollar down to the 102 101 levels, but obviously that would be for more forecasts to come. All right, onto the forecast for the euro US dollar. The past week the banks added 1,524 long positions, and they also added 2,389 short positions. Now looking at the chart on the euro US dollar, clearly we lost momentum on the weekly chart. We had very strong downtrends, and the last couple weeks here we clearly broke a supply zone, leaving us with a demand zone at 0.99. Now the momentum is clearly better displayed on the daily chart here, so there are a few options for trading this the euro US dollar. One option is this daily chart. You could, if you are looking to get in long on the US dollar, you could definitely wait for this daily area of demand at 1.037 to wait for this daily demand to be hit and look for a confirmation trade on a 1-hour chart coming off of that daily area of demand. And remember, if you guys do want my zones for confirmation or for trading in general, check out the bronze membership on YouTube and Patreon. For only $5 cap per month, you can get my daily chart analysis on a bunch of different pairs, so definitely check that out. Now, as far as the lower time frames go, let me just zoom back out to my 4-chart layout. Clearly on the top right screen right here and the bottom right screen, we have clear 4-hour and 1-hour uptrends. So what that means is going in long right now on day trading time frames like a 1-minute, 5-minute, or even a 50-minute chart is definitely okay in my opinion, based on there being trends on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart. As far as shorting it goes, I pretty much see no reason to be shorting yet. The only time I would consider shorting the euro right now is if something like this takes place in the daily chart, where we remove this daily demand I was telling you guys about earlier, leaving us with daily supply. And at that point, I would be interested in shorting at that daily supply zone. And why? Well, because yes, we did lose momentum here on the weekly chart in this little sequence of time, but the overall momentum is still down. So that's why I'm still interested in shorting. I just need to see this nearest demand zone taken out first before we just get in short. So to recap on the euro US dollar, since we have a 4-hour and a 1-hour uptrend, I think looking for longs on day trading timeframes like the 1-minute, 5-minute, or even the 50-minute chart is definitely a go ahead until we can start to see this trend start to change by removing this upward trend line on the 4-hour chart. All right, looking at gold, the past week the banks got rid of 5,123 long positions, and they added 987 short positions. Now on the weekly chart here, we are contacting this weekly area of supply at 1806, but the momentum on the daily chart, the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart are very significant right now, and we definitely don't want to be trading against that momentum. So in my opinion, longs are definitely okay, but at the same time, we are contacting this weekly supply zone at 1806. So I do think we could start to see some downward pressure on gold. And if you are interested in shorting at this weekly supply zone, it is tested, but not too deep. So I think looking for shorts is definitely okay. So to be very clear, for shorts on gold, what I would look for is something like this on this 4-hour chart, where we not only remove this H4 area of demand at 1782, but we also remove this upward trend line that is also in play. So if we get something like this, leaving us with a 4-hour supply zone, that would be your 4-hour confirmation trade coming off of that weekly area of supply. Now, if you are a gold bull right now and you want to be trading in long, remember, like I said, we are in weekly supply, daily supply, so we could start to see some downward pressure on gold. So in my opinion, you have to be very cautious getting in long right now on gold. The same thing goes with shorts. So this is a time where it might be best to use lower risk based on the confusing time where we're in weekly demand, weekly supply, daily supply, but momentum is up. So it is a very confusing time. So as far as trading this one long goes, since we have a 4-hour and a 1-hour uptrend, kind of just like the Euro US dollar, we could be looking for trades on day trading timeframes like the 1-minute, 5-minute, or 50-minute chart to the upside. Now, if this 4-hour area of demand at 1782 wasn't hit yet, I would have said we could have looked for a confirmation trade coming off of this 4-hour area of demand. And obviously it would have worked out very, very well. So if anybody got a trade, if any of the members got a trade off my zone right there, congratulations to you guys. And as far as gold goes now, like I said, day trading time frame longs are okay, but just be very, very cautious because we are in higher time frame supplies. And as far as shorts go, we need to see the 4-hour start to shift momentum by breaking demand and that upward trend line before we get in short. All right, on to the USD JPY forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 131 long positions and they got rid of 2,675 short positions. Now on the weekly chart here in the USD yen, something very significant happened. If you guys have been following my forecast for a while, this whole time I was saying it's longs on USD yen because none of the demand zones were being removed at all until this demand zone was removed. So this weekly demand zone has been removed now, and we've clearly lost momentum on the weekly chart. And it is actually more easily seen here on the daily chart where we have daily supply zones being formed right here, right here, right here, daily demand zones being removed. So clearly the momentum is down on the daily chart and the lower time frames. So to keep it pretty simple here, yes, the overall trend is technically still up on the USD yen. We just clearly lost momentum here. So as far as longs go, I'll talk about longs first. As far as longs go, what I would need to see before feeling comfortable getting long is something like this taking place, where we remove these two supply zones right here, leaving us with daily demand, and then at that point, we could be interested in taking a trade at that daily demand. But obviously, that could take a long time to play out, so we need to wait a bit for that to take place, and that will probably be talked about in some forecasts coming up. And as far as trading this one goes now, what I'm seeing here is this 4-hour chart. We have a very strong 4-hour downtrend with supply zones being respected all the way down here. So this is just a great opportunity to potentially be shorting the USD yen, but only on day trading timeframes like the 1-minute, 5-minute, and 15-minute chart. And to be very clear as well, since the weekly momentum is technically up overall, and we are actually reacting off of a daily demand zone at 133.89, confirmation will definitely be needed before getting in short. If you guys want to learn more about confirmation, I do have a private video series on confirmation in the level 2 silver membership on YouTube and Patreon, as well as many other things included, as you can see right now on the screen. So definitely check out the silver membership. You guys definitely won't be disappointed. So as far as the 4-hour chart goes in the yen here, you could have looked for confirmation at this supply zone at 135.95, but obviously that trade already took place. So in my opinion, what we need to be doing is, if you either want to, you can come on this 1-hour chart here, you could wait for this 1-hour area of demand to be removed, and if we're left with a 1-hour supply zone, I will have this supply zone for the members, and you could look for a confirmation trade coming off of that 1-hour area of supply. So that's what I'd be waiting for shorts if you are interested in shorting the USD yen. And remember, like I said about longs, since we did lose momentum here in the daily chart, we need to start to see evidence that price is going to continue to push up and trade again with this overall weekly uptrend, but we need to see these daily supply zones removed first before we get in long. All right, on to the GBP USD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 4,917 long contracts, and they also got rid of 4,275 short contracts. Now, before we get into the pound analysis here, let me know in the comments down below, what pairs you guys are trading this week, maybe what pairs you guys traded last week and how your trading is going. I'd love to hear from you guys. So as far as the pound goes here, we clearly lost momentum on the weekly chart and the daily chart. Momentum is clearly up. In my opinion, you could almost call this a daily uptrend, although I would have preferred to see a bigger pivot low and then breaking this high to call it a better uptrend, but the momentum is clearly still up. Now on the daily chart here, we have a daily demand zone that I had for the members that was clearly respected and reacted off of it at 1.19. So in my opinion, on the pound, if you are interested in getting in long, it has to be on day trading timeframes only. Hopefully you guys are noticing the theme of this video. If you are going to be trading against the US dollar, it makes more sense to be day trading timeframes rather than swing trading timeframes, because the swing trading timeframes on the US dollar is showing basically bullishness on the US dollar. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but from what I'm seeing, that is what I'm seeing. So as far as the 4-hour chart goes here, we have a 4-hour uptrend, 1-hour uptrend. So in my opinion, longs on 1 minute, 5 minute, or 50-minute charts are fine. There is this 4-hour area of demand at 1.21 that you could look for a 15-minute confirmation trade coming off of that 4-hour area of demand. It's not the best looking demand zone ever, so confirmation will certainly be needed. And as far as the 1-hour chart goes here, we have a supply zone from quite a while back at 1.23 that's clearly holding up price. So if we can get a bullish move up, leaving us with a 1-hour demand zone, you could trade in this 1-hour demand zone on a day trading time frame like a 1 minute or 5 minute and look for confirmation inside of that 1-hour area of demand. I do apologize, there just is no 1-hour demand zone for me to show you guys right now, so we will have to wait for that to take place. And as far as shorts go, I would not even consider shorting until we can see a shift of momentum on the daily chart, removing this daily demand at 1.19. And if we're left with a daily supply zone, you could look for shorts coming off of that daily supply. But obviously, that is for weeks to come, and we need to start to see that to happen. So as far as trading this goes in the pound, longs on day trading timeframes are definitely looking decent. And who knows, we could even see a deeper pullback to weekly demand and then push up, which is definitely possible, but that is for another forecast. All right, on to the Aussie US dollar forecast. The past week, the banks added 2,220 long positions, and they also added 4,064 short positions. Now, remember, on this Cot Report, they are basically 70% short still on the Aussie US dollar, even though, yes, we have had significant moves up in the Aussie US dollar. But something that interests me quite a bit is this weekly area of supply at 0.679. So in my opinion, yes, daily demand zones are being respected, momentum is up, but at the end of the day, the higher time frame analysis, which is my weekly chart here, this is what it shows me: a weekly downtrend with weekly supply in control. So in my opinion, it's shorts all the way on Aussie US dollar. I will touch on longs really quick. Since we have a 4-hour uptrend, yes, technically we could be looking for longs on day trading timeframes. I wouldn't really disagree with that, although weekly, so you don't really want to be buying into weekly supply. But based on how the US dollar has been acting, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see this continue to rally and break through that weekly area of supply. So longs must be using less risk and on day trading timeframes only. Now, since we are reacting off of this weekly supply, we could be definitely looking for confirmation shorts and what that's going to look like. And it's actually setting up very nicely. That's why Aussie dollar is on the top of my watch list this week, is what I'm going to show you guys here. If we can get something like this to take place, where we remove this demand, we remove this upward trend line, hopefully we remove this demand as well and this demand, then at that point, if we're left with a 4-hour area of supply, I would be very interested in trading at that 4-hour supply, because what this is it's 4-hour confirmation short coming off of a weekly supply zone. And that is a very high odds, not only a weekly supply zone, but in a weekly downtrend. So it's a very high odds trading setup. So I am waiting for something like this to take place before I just hop in short. Now I will be setting an alert at that price. I kind of want to do it on the video, so I will be setting an alert down there just so that I can automate my trading and be alerted when this zone breaks, and then I can pull up the chart and say, hey, wow, there's a 4-hour supply zone here, I better get in shorts. So this is what I'm seeing on the Aussie dollar. Patience is definitely going to be needed, and like I said, Remember, if you are going to be getting in long, it's got to be on day trading timeframes and be using less risk based on this overall weekly chart. We could definitely start to see the Aussie dollar start to push down again, so I'd be very, very cautious getting in long until this weekly supply is removed. And remember, shorts, be patient. We need to start to see demand zones being removed and that upward trend line removed as well before we just hop in short. All right, on to the USD CHF, the Swiss franc. The past week, the banks got rid of 651 long positions, and they also got rid of 422 short positions. Now, on the weekly chart, we almost contacted this weekly area of demand at 0.93. It has not been contacted yet. We are actually in daily demand, and we also have strong trends on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart to the downside. So if we disregard the weekly chart and the daily chart, in my opinion, this chart is not looking great. It's definitely not on my watch list at all this week. Even the weekly chart, although the momentum is up, it's not really up in this near time. So it's really not a great chart to be trading. So to keep it simple on the USD Swiss, since we have 4-hour and 1-hour downtrends, we could be looking for shorts on day trading timeframes. Even that I don't really like based on us being so close to this weekly area of demand. So, if somebody was forcing me to take a trade in this, in the next month or so, what I would wait for is to wait for this weekly demand to be hit at 0.93, and then I would come over on the 4-hour chart. I would start to look for momentum starting to shift, and then buy a pullback coming off of that weekly area of demand. So there's really not much else to say here on the USD Swiss. Not a great looking chart, but there's also nothing wrong, and in my opinion, the best traders in the world have the ability to look at a chart and say, nope, not for me. I'm either just going to wait or I'm going to look at other markets, and that's what I'm doing here on USD Swiss. All right, we are on to oil, the last one of the forecast. So I appreciate everyone tuning in, and let's look into oil here. So the past week, the banks got rid of 14,466 long contracts, and they also got rid of 1,730 short contracts. Now, this chart isn't looking phenomenal by any means, but the main thing I want to point out right here is this weekly chart. We not only are reacting off of this weekly area of demand for the second time, it is also a 3-month area of demand as well. So I'm very interested in acquiring longs here on oil, and I'll actually be looking to get in long this week on oil. I could be wrong, but that is just what my gut is telling me. So we do have a weekly demand zone in control on oil. Not only that, if you come to a daily chart here, we had a pretty decent daily supply zone right here, and has recently been removed. So we have gotten a daily confirmation, although it's not a fantastic confirmation entry, because there's still this downward trend line in play right here like this. That's borderline a trend line. I'm going to keep it for myself and for the members. I would like to see a bigger move up and a pullback and then a push up before getting in long, but you could look for a confirmation coming off of that daily area of demand at 76.94. Now, as far as a more aggressive entry goes, what I'm seeing is this 4-hour chart. We do have this 4-hour area of demand at $79.56 on oil. So you could look for a 50-minute confirmation trade coming off of this 4-hour area of demand. And another thing that's very important here is this significant 4-hour supply zone from back here. The supply zone started here. We reacted off of it once. We wicked through it, but we also respected the zone after we wicked through it. So in my opinion, this this 4-hour area of supply at 81.95 is still in play. So you could either wait for this 4-hour demand to be hit at 79.56 and look for a confirmation long, or you could wait for this 4-hour area demand to be removed, leaving us with 4-hour demand, and we can look to get in long there. So definitely a lot of options here on oil. I definitely would not suggest getting in short right now based on higher time frames, supplies or demand zones being in control. If you are looking to short, I would try to be patient and wait for this weekly supply at 86.44 to be hit before we get in short. And remember, if you do get in long, I would definitely look to take some profits off at 86.44 at that weekly supply as well. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.